There are three ways that the external environment affects managers. First, its impact on jobs and employment. Second, the amount of environmental uncertainty. And third, the nature of stakeholder relationships. As external environmental conditions change, managers face the impact of these changes on jobs and employment. Economists predict that about 1/4 of the 8.4 million U.S. jobs eliminated during the most recent economic downturn won't be reinstated. Such readjustments create challenges for managers who must balance work demands with having enough people with the right skills to do the organization's work. Changes in external conditions not only affect the types of jobs available, but they also affect how the jobs are created and managed. For example, many employers use flexible work arrangements and contract freelancers or temporary workers. Another constraint posed by the external environment is the amount of uncertainty that exists, which can affect organizational outcomes. Environmental uncertainty refers to the degree of change and complexity in an organization's environment. This matrix shows these two aspects. The first dimension of uncertainty is the degree of unpredictable change. That is, a stable environment experiences minimal change, and a dynamic environment experiences frequent change. For example, a stable environment might have no new competitors, few technological breakthroughs by current competitors, and little pressure from groups trying to influence the organization. The other dimension of uncertainty describes the degree of environmental complexity, which looks at the number of components in an organization's environment and the knowledge that the organization has about those components. Therefore, an organization with few competitors, customers, suppliers, or government agencies to deal with, or an organization that needs little information about its environment, has a less complex and more certain stable environment, as seen in cell 1. So, how does the concept of environmental uncertainty influence managers? As illustrated here in Exhibit 2.2, each of the 4 cells represents different combinations of degree of complexity and degree of change. Cell 1, a stable, simple environment, represents the lowest level of environmental uncertainty, and Cell 4, a dynamic and complex environment, represents the highest level of environmental uncertainty. Not surprisingly, managers have the greatest influence on organizational outcomes in Cell 1 and the least influence in Cell 4. Because uncertainty is a threat to an organization's effectiveness, managers try to minimize it. Most industries today face more dynamic change, and consequently, their environments are more uncertain. The nature of stakeholder relationships is another way in which the environment influences managers. The more obvious and secure these relationships, the more influence managers will have over organizational outcomes. Stakeholders are any constituencies in an organization's environment that are affected by that organization's decisions and actions. These groups have a stake in or are significantly influenced by what the organization does. In turn, these groups can influence the organization. For example, think of the groups that might be affected by the decisions and actions of Starbucks: coffee bean farmers, employees, specialty coffee competitors, local communities, and so forth. Some of these stakeholders also, in turn, may impact decisions and actions of Starbucks managers.